but I'm a progressive who likes to get things done. And I know how to find common ground, and I know how to stand my ground, and I have proved that in every position that I've had.
And what democratic socialism is about is saying that it is immoral and wrong that the top 1/10 of 1% in this country own almost 90%, own almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%.
Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, the two leading candidates for the Democrat presidential nomination, facing off during that first debate. But who won? Well, according to our exclusive OpinionSavvy Newsmax survey by Matt Towery Jr., it all boils down to age. You see, voters over the age of 30 say Hillary won the debate. You see it right there at 55% and Bernie with 32%. But voters under 30 say it was Bernie's night by an 82% to 14% margin. Well, let's talk some about that. For more, let's welcome in Matt Towery Sr., founder of Inside Advantage, of which OpinionSavvy is a spin-off organization. Matt's also the author of the new book, News Vesting. And also joining us from Washington, D.C. via Skype, a reporter for The Hill, Ben Kamisar. Ben, Matt, thanks very much for the time. And Matt, let's begin with you. In politics, perception is reality. So why does it seem so many of the post-debate focus groups and online polls have Bernie Sanders winning?
Well, it's very interesting because I noticed that same thing. First of all, we always have to say a focus group is a small collection of individuals. It isn't large enough to have a margin of error. And oftentimes, we see these focus groups give a reaction. Great example, Frank Luntz at a focus group right after the first Republican debate. The entire room said Donald Trump had lost, but yet most people thought Donald Trump won the debate or at least went on to do well, at least fairly well in the polls. So it's not a scientific survey when you do a focus group, unlike a poll like this. But I certainly will say that I did see a dichotomy because a lot of the pundits felt like that Clinton won, and a lot of the folks who were online or in focus groups felt Bernie Sanders won. We now get the answer. Younger people think Sanders won, but just about anyone over 30, they thought Hillary Clinton acquitted herself well, and I think it really actually helped her in her overall polling numbers.
So, Ben, you're a younger guy, but you're also a journalist who's been around the block a time or two. Bernie's done pretty well with fundraising. Will the debate performance prove to be a big fundraising boom for him, whether or not in the final analysis he, quote, won?
Yeah, well, I mean, it already has over, I don't exactly know what the numbers are now, but at least in the first 4 hours of the debate, Bernie Sanders fundraised well over $1 million, I think it was $1.3 million, specifically off of an email that they sent out highlighting that statement he made where he said, you know, I'm sick and tired of talking about the email scandal, to use a little bit of a toned-down language. But yeah, so he's already capitalized in fundraising on that, and looks like their campaign is going to continue to use that to keep building up their campaign coffers and eventually creeping closer and closer to Hillary Clinton as far as cash on hand.
Hey, Ben, in terms of the questions in the CNN debate, Donald Trump wasn't really mentioned that much. I thought he might be a bigger target for the Dems. Any theories on why Trump wasn't mentioned that much during the Democrat debate?
Yeah, I mean, you saw a little bit of it. There was an allusion to a couple allusions to Trump, but I think right now this is, you know, Hillary Clinton obviously is. I mean, she seems to feel pretty comfortable where she is, but at the same time, Bernie Sanders is on a pretty strong rise, and by sort of deflecting and looking at the Republican field, it sort of, I guess, moves away from the real fight at hand, which is currently on that stage. I think the two candidates really wanted to make sure that they were able to draw contrast between each other and thought, you know, maybe let's deal with the Republicans later. We need to make sure we've got our own house in order.
All right, got about a minute and a half left. Matt Towery, I guess we could call this portion of our interview dueling pollsters, because John Zogby comes on this program with great regularity, and he has been telling us for weeks that Donald Trump is starting to fizzle out. Now, we do see a decline in Trump's polling. According to some surveys, he's about 20% down from its high. Do you believe there is something to Zogby saying there's going to be a Trump dump, and gone is the Trump bump in the polls? We'll see more of a decline for the Donald?
Well, first of all, John and I are good friends, and I'm not going to say anything negative about him. What I will say is this. Trump's sweet spot is in the southern states. His numbers there, when we polled for Newsmax, are running about 6 to 8 points higher than in these other states outside of the South. So it really doesn't matter if Trump's numbers begin to fade a little bit. If they continue to run 36, 38, 34, and all these states are going to be making a big decision very quickly, he's going to remain in this race, and he's going to be an important part of it regardless.
Ben Kamisar of The Hill, sir, we thank you for your time. Hope to have you back again real soon on Newsmax Prime. And as for you, Matt Towery, we're going to ask you to stick around because later in this program, we're going to talk about your new book, News Vesting. Up next, Glenn Downs, former Congressional Chief of Staff for Representative Walter Jones, with an update on the Speaker's race. Don't go away. Newsmax Prime continues right after this.